The kids want to join the live.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we are live.
We are.
Now,
I see.
yeah, you see?
Yep.
Okay. So welcome, guys.
Can you tell if there's people joining?
Lorena is there. I just see.
Hi, Lorena.
Lorena saying hello.
Let's see. I hope our bed is made. It looks like it's made. Too late to ask that question. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's just wait a little bit because no one has arrived yet.
Okay.
There are some people. Yeah. Yeah, but Lorena is here. Why isn't it showing? Ah, Rafael now. Hey, Rafael. How are you doing?
Wait, Rafael from the helicopter place?
No. Is that you, Rafael? Grace now? Okay, the guys are coming.
Yeah. Is that great? Is that Grace
Fisher?
Yeah, Fisher. Yeah, Grace.
Yeah.
I've talked to her before.
Okay.
Yeah, just by chat, I think.
All right.
Yep.
So
I thought Grace has already done her, whatever. Yeah.
Okay. You talk to her later.
I know everybody.
Yeah, you do. You do. Ok. So, guys, pessoal, a gente está esperando um pouquinho para ver se o pessoal chega, né? Dá uns 5 minutinhos. E não se preocupem, quem não fala inglês, eu estou aqui para traduzir o que o Jeff vai passar para vocês. Vocês sabem que o Jeff não fala português ainda, ele vai aprender. I hope you can learn Portuguese, right, Jeff?
Yeah, I want to, kind of.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Ele sabe algumas palavras, especialmente comida. Food. Food in Portuguese, you do, right?
Food in Portuguese, yeah. Yep. Yeah. I might be American, but my stomach is from Brazil. I say that to everybody. Yeah.
Yes. Ele falou que ele é americano, mas o estômago dele é brasileiro.
Yep.
Oh, guys. Wilson. Hi. Welcome to our lives. Everton is here as well. Wilson, he said you say coxinha in English.
Yeah.
Yes, pastel.
Pastel. I know some bad ones too. I'm not going to say right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Pastel. Feijoada.
Feijoada. Yes. Hey, Rafael. Yeah, Lorraine. Hi, Wilson.
Hey,
welcome, guys. Yeah. Okay. So, wow, we have we have some guys already. So, yeah, let's wait just 2 minutes more. A gente vai esperar mais 2 minutinhos.
Give them a few minutes to get going.
Yeah.
There's always technical difficulties, and I know sometimes the internet's not the greatest.
Yeah, it's true. So true. Yeah.
Yep.
Now we have Tony. Welcome, Tony. Okay. So Wilson has taken the course with you already.
Yeah, Wilson's done. Is that?
Yeah.
Wilson.
Yeah, because he just typed here that you helped him a lot.
Yeah, Wilson.
Yeah.
Wilson, like from.
Yeah, from Tom Hanks movie.
From the Tom Hanks movie.
I can't remember the name of the movie. The Ball. Was Wilson,
The
right?
Ball was Wilson.
Yeah. Guys, do you remember the movie with Tom Hanks and the Ball, Wilson?
What is the name of that movie?
Yeah, I forgot. Castaway?
Castaway, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I don't remember in Portuguese the name of the movie.
Yeah.
But I remember the movie. Yeah. All right. Okay. So, I always say Wilson.
Yeah.
Ok. So, pessoal, eu acho que a gente pode começar já. Eu tô aqui, como eu falei para vocês no começo. Náufrago, o Wilson falou. Obrigada, Wilson. Então, eu tô aqui para fazer a ponte, né? Como vocês sabem, o Jeff não fala português, e aí ele vai dar as dicas para vocês dos maiores erros que o pessoal comete na hora de fazer a entrevista no FSDO. Gente, é muito comum. A gente acha que não, mas tem muita gente que vai no FSDO fazer entrevista e tem a documentação negada por erros bobos, né? Por falta de preparo. Então, por isso que a gente está fazendo essa live aqui para poder passar para vocês quais são os erros que os mecânicos cometem na hora de fazer a entrevista. So, Jeff, I think you can start by saying the first thing regarding the interview. You told me you would explain how it works, right?
Right. So, I mean, basically, Liz, you want to just like take?
I will take notes, and then when I think I need to talk,
Tell me to shut up so that you can.
I will. Okay.
Because I don't want to keep rambling.
Okay, no, but I'll take notes. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, the way the interview process works, obviously, you're meeting with a aviation safety inspector, an ASI, or sometimes they're PMIs, principal maintenance inspectors, and these are guys that work full-time for the FAA. You set an interview, set up an interview with, you schedule an interview with them, and then they will review your experience and make sure that you meet the minimum qualifications to become an A&P mechanic, or at least to attempt the test to become an A&P mechanic. So obviously, without the endorsement or endorsed paperwork, the 8610-2 from the FAA, you don't have permission to take the test. I had a guy talk to me recently who was like, "Hey, I'm ready to come take the test." Had no 8610-2. And so he wasn't aware that you actually had to go to the FAA first before you do the rest of the process. Some of the things that they can ask you during the interview.
Okay, so
go ahead.
Let me tell them about this.
Okay.
Pessoal, então vocês vão ser entrevistados por um ASI ou PMI, que são inspetores no FAA. Eles trabalham focados em verificar a documentação de vocês. Eles veem se os documentos são verdadeiros, né? E eles revisam todo esse documento. E ele falou que ele já teve pessoas que chegaram lá para fazer o treinamento e não sabiam que tinha que passar pela entrevista, então eles não tinham o documento 8610-2 assinado. Então é essencial que você passe pela entrevista inicial do FSDO para você obter esse documento, esse formulário 8610-2 assinado. Se você não tiver a permissão, se você não tiver esse documento, não adianta, você não consegue ir para frente, né? Não adianta fazer nenhum tipo de treinamento, nem nada. Okay, Jeff, you can go on.
Okay, I'm sending Steve Alcorn the link because he wanted to watch.
Okay.
Yeah. What was I going to say?
How the interview is.
Specific questions that they might ask. Yeah, thanks. This is not going to work for my mind where I get interrupted.
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm kidding. So specific questions that they're going to ask you, obviously, are about your work experience. They want to know that you have experience. So they may ask you like, "Hey, tell me different types of aircraft you've worked on," and they just expect you to rattle off a few airplanes different models of airplanes that you may have worked on. tell me different kinds of engines you've worked on. And anybody that spent any amount of time around, any airplane or specific engines are going to be able to rattle off the top of their head 3 or 4 different models, of airplanes that they've actually worked on, or engines that they've worked on, or whatever. So they're looking for that you're fluid in the types of questions that they are asking, that you're comfortable in just talking about it. That kind of proves that you're not lying to them, if that makes sense. Other types of questions they can ask, like specific maintenance questions. So let's say you tell them you're a sheet metal technician. They may ask you questions that a sheet metal technician should be familiar with. Like, give me an example of how close to the edge you can put a rivet. I don't know. And they would ask you to kind of describe that or talk about it, just to prove to them that you aren't lying about your experience. Or if you're a turbine guy and you have turbine overhaul experience, they might ask you tell me about how you do this specific job or something, or so they really kind of just probe you and then let you talk. And based on how fluent you are and what you're talking about, they can tell whether or not what you have documented for experience is accurate. Other questions they're going to ask you, like, why do you need an A&P? That's a big one. And they usually will. It's not that they don't want to endorse somebody, but when an ASI endorses the 8610, they are taking ownership of that. So they have the authority to say no if they're not comfortable for any reason. So if they get the feeling you're lying to them, that's reason enough for them to turn you down, even if your paperwork is beautiful. Other things, like if your experience is military, they may ask you, usually military applicants, even foreign military applicants, the experience still counts usually. So they may ask you what your specific job was in the military. They may also ask you.
And how do you prove the military experience? Is it the same way? You need to have a letter?
No,
from there.
Not generally. I mean, even foreign military, like in the U.S., we have what's called a DD-214. That's if a person leaves the military, if they're honorably discharged, meaning they just leave, they're not getting kicked out for something bad. They will. That document, the DD-214, has what's called an MOS on it, which is a description of what they've done in their career, and then the FAA can look up that MOS and can see the type of experience that they've gained from it. And then training records. Yeah, go ahead.
But what if a Brazilian guy worked for is it the same?
It should be, yeah. There should be some record of their experience in the military. So I know guys that have had military experience that have used the military experience in addition to their civil experience once they get out of the military to show the FAA. So the training records from the military, that's something that you really can't falsify, so when the FAA sees military records, or that are translated military records, and they can kind of tell they're official records, they know that person's got experience. There is in the 8900, which is what the FAA used to conduct the interview process, basically tells them what to do and what to ask and things like that. There
8900.
Yeah, that's a humongous document, but there are specific check mark things that they're looking for. And they just follow that guide. It tells them how to prepare. It tells the FAA how to prepare for the interview. And I'll talk more about that document in a few minutes. But there is a section in there that talks about evaluating a foreign military applicant. So the experience on foreign military aircraft, especially if they're U.S. manufactured military aircraft in foreign governments or foreign military, that experience still is valid if you're a mechanic. So it's still valid experience. They can evaluate that. Yeah, there's a few other questions I've heard, but they usually stick to those few things. An interview can last anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours. It really depends on who the safety inspector is that you're talking to, and how comfortable they feel with your records and what you talk about.
Okay. All right. So let me translate that.
Okay.
Pessoal, vou começar aqui pelo final, que ele falou que a entrevista pode levar de 30 minutos a 2 horas, vai depender da pessoa que está fazendo a entrevista com você, né? Eles perguntam sobre a sua experiência de trabalho, porque eles querem saber se você não está mentindo naquilo que você colocou na carta, né? Então ele pergunta que tipo de aeronave que você trabalhou. Aí ele pede para você falar um pouco sobre a aeronave, quais tipos de motores você tem experiência, e aí você tem que falar de 2 ou 3 motores. Se você fala que você trabalha em sheet metal, eles vão checar, fazendo perguntas, por exemplo, sobre locais específicos do rebite, onde é colocado. Então, eles têm perguntas específicas, onde eles conseguem perceber a experiência de vocês, né? Se vocês conseguem falar sobre aquele assunto sem grandes problemas, eles conseguem perceber que vocês têm a experiência, que vocês colocaram na carta é verdadeiro. Eles deixam você falar. Então, eles colocam a pergunta lá e deixam vocês falarem, né? Então, e aí eles verificam através da fala o conhecimento que vocês têm. Outra pergunta que é muito comum é por que vocês precisam da A&P, né? Então, geralmente, uma dica que eu dou, o Jeff não falou, mas que eu dou é vocês falarem que vocês precisam da A&P porque vocês têm uma oferta de trabalho aqui, uma vaga, por exemplo, que vocês querem se candidatar à vaga. Porque se você falar que você precisa que a empresa que você trabalha solicita que você tenha um FA, essa informação tem que estar na carta. Se não tiver na carta, vocês vão ter problema na entrevista. Jeff, I'm telling them that they needed to, if they state that the company requires them to have the A&P, this information has to be in the letter, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling them, because I remember now.
That's correct.
Yeah, ok. Senão vocês vão ter problema, gente. Se vocês falarem que a empresa que você trabalha, que está solicitando que você tenha a A&P, você tem que ter isso escrito na carta da empresa. E muitas vezes a empresa não escreve, tá? Então a gente já viu pessoas com problema por causa disso. E ele falou que o inspetor que faz a entrevista, ele é autoridade. Ele tem todo o direito de falar não. Então, a decisão é dele, né? Então, pode acontecer do cara encasquetar com alguma coisa e te falar não, tá? Isso é possível. E aí eu questionei, o Jeff falou sobre a experiência militar, nos Estados Unidos ela é muito mais fácil de ser comprovada por causa dos documentos militares, e aí eu perguntei se no Brasil era a mesma coisa, e aí o Jeff falou que não precisa de carta, no caso da experiência militar, mas você tem que levar os documentos, esses documentos têm que estar traduzidos. E aí tem mais detalhes, porque não é tão comum assim a gente ter o pessoal da área da Força Aérea, por exemplo, que quer tirar a A&P, assim, na nossa experiência, tá, gente? E aí ele falou que tem o documento 8900 da FAA, que explica todo o procedimento para quem tem experiência na área militar. E foi isso, gente, um resumo do que ele falou. Sabe o que eu queria ver? Tem mais ou menos umas 30 pessoas na live agora. Tem alguém que não fala inglês? Porque aí eu diminuo nessa parte. Tem alguém que precisa da tradução completa? Coloca aí nos comentários para mim, tá? Jeff, you go.
Keep going? Okay.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to talk about common mistakes that people make during their interview process or preparing for the interview before they come here. So, the most common one I see, or the most common reason I see people turn down in the interview is insufficient evidence. So meaning they can't prove to the FAA that they have the required experience. So, they have to be able to show 36 months really is what the FAA is looking for. 30 months, like people talk about 30 months because that is the minimum, and that 30 months has to be consecutive. So if you're showing experience from one company to another company, as soon as you go from one company to another, even though the experience is technically consecutive, like it doesn't appear that way to the FAA. And so therefore they all kind of automatically go to that 36-month thing. If you have a letter that shows 30 months from the same company, like all of your experience is from the same company, then that's usually okay. They'll give that one to you. But if you have only 30 months and you've got 3 different companies you've worked for, and there's time in between a couple of companies, like months of experience that it might be missing, like you don't have it consecutively or whatever, then they're going to want everything to add up to a total of 36 months. So missing evidence is definitely the number one thing that people, the reason they're turned down from the interview. So ways of proving evidence are, a letter states the need for the license, doesn't necessarily prove experience. You can have some experience documented in the letter, but it doesn't necessarily, in other words, a letter by itself without something else backing up what's said in that letter isn't usually sufficient. So other types of experience documentation that they're looking for obviously would be like a logbook, where they've got a list of jobs that they've done over the last 36 months. Another example might be, a list of work orders, like work orders showing, your like spread out over the time that you've been with a company or multiple companies. So you may want to show a work order. You don't have to show them a work order for like every week, but show them a work order for, like when you first started, and then a few months later, and then a few months later, and doing that every 4 or 6 months, showing a work order to show that you're still in it and active during that time of the work order. And all the way
maybe once a month would be good.
Honestly, they won't. Think about that. That would be 36 different work orders that you would have.
Okay.
They
won't see everything. Okay.
So yeah. Is it a kid? Sorry, my wife's coming in, making sure it's not a child breaking into our bedroom. So,
I think there was a dog actually breaking into.
Yeah, I know. The dog came in too. Yes. That's Max. He's a Labradoodle. He's a good dog. So you might see his little tail behind me.
Yeah, I saw. It was just lagging. Yeah.
So, but if you show 36 months worth of work orders, that's overkill. You wouldn't necessarily need to do that. If you have it, great. Take it with you. The more evidence you have, the better. I always use the phrase "kill them with evidence." You want to give them no reason to turn you down. Basically, if you give them a reason to turn you down, they typically will. So, so try and stay away from that. And one of the ways to stay away from that is giving them overwhelming evidence of your experience. So, like for example, if you showed work orders through the span of your career, and you have a logbook that shows your day-to-day with what you do, and you have a letter from every company stating what you did, and maybe if you have a job description of what you did for that company, or companies, whatever, to show that you actually were a mechanic for this organization, Pay stubs sometimes even show that. So like showing record of being paid by the company. They usually don't want to see personal information. So pay stubs are like a last resort kind of thing. So other types of things that they want us
like
to, yeah,
courses. Do you think it's
sure.
important?
So courses are evidence that you're obviously working in aviation.
Like the certificates.
Sure, yeah. So if you complete a course for like a Gen Fam class, general familiarization, any kind of engine certificate or certificate courses like Pratt and Whitney or GE, if you go through a GE class or whatever for any kind of turbine engine or whatever, if you have the graduation certificate for the class, that looks good. They also like to see like human factors training classes, things like that. Those are typical training classes that you get if you're working as a mechanic in aviation. That's just to name a few, but there's tons of things like that out there.
Okay.
One of the other thing is taking copies of the ANAC affidavit or requesting the ANAC affidavit. So as a foreign applicant applying for, the FAA license, which is obviously an American license, they want to see that you are certified under your Civil Aviation Authority, CAA, and the ANAC affidavit meets the requirement, which proves your experience, or it proves that you hold a license in your country, which obviously looks good when you come here. If you don't have an ANAC affidavit, or if you don't hold an ANAC certificate, that doesn't necessarily stop you because the experience is still valid.
But that's what we were talking. In order to have the experience in Brazil, you need to have the certification.
Yeah.
They're linked, right? It's very difficult.
Like to actually test as an A&P mechanic in Brazil under the ANAC certificate, you have to have experience. So you have to go to school, then you get a job, then you work for 3 years, and then you can test for ANAC. And so there have been people that have come here that have gone to school in Brazil, worked for 3 years and come and done the US because they've documented their experience very well. Before they have ANAC.
Okay, all right.
And they've been endorsed and gotten the FAA license before having the ANAC certificate.
I see.
It's not necessarily required, but that can depend on the aviation safety inspector that you're talking to, or the inspector that you're dealing with. He may not be comfortable with you not having a foreign license.
Okay. This is something that can happen.
That would be, you'd be taking a little bit of a chance if you didn't have a foreign license.
Okay. So can I
sure,
go? Okay. Pessoal, os erros mais comuns, tá? Que os mecânicos cometem. Então, evidência insuficiente, né? Você precisa ter... O mais comum é 36 meses de experiência. Na verdade, o documento fala 30 meses, mas esses 30 meses têm que ser consecutivos, né? Se não for consecutivo, então eles vão para 36 meses, tá? As formas de provar a sua experiência é através da carta, mas a carta em si não prova totalmente. Então você tem a carta e você tem as perguntas que eles fazem para ver se o que a carta tá correto, né? Outra forma é você fazer um logbook. O Jeff não falou aqui, mas ele falou numa outra live. A editora ASA tem esse logbook para vender. Vocês conseguem comprar aqui no Brasil também. E esse logbook vocês vão discriminar todas as atividades que vocês fizeram naquele dia. Então, é uma forma de você computar todas as atividades que vocês fizeram e provar para o inspetor no FSDO que você trabalhou naquelas atividades. Outra coisa que vocês podem fazer também é pegar work orders, guardarem algumas work orders, que são ordens de serviço que vocês fizeram, Não precisa ser todos os meses, mas se vocês pegarem a cada 3 meses, a cada 4 meses, só para provar que vocês estão ali conectados com a empresa, trabalhando, é válido. Outra coisa, o Jeff, ele tem uma expressão que ele usa que chama kill them with evidence, que ele falou que ele gosta de usar, que é tipo, encha de evidência, tipo, vai armado até os dentes, com todas as informações, com todos os documentos e entrega para o inspetor, né? Mostra para ele que realmente você tem essa experiência. Vocês podem também levar informações da empresa. Eles não querem saber sobre salário, nada disso. Mas você pode levar o seu crachá, você pode levar documentos da empresa, cursos, certificados de curso que vocês fizeram, isso também é importante. Precisa levar o affidavit, gente, da ANAC. Aí foi um assunto que a gente entrou, porque o affidavit prova que você tem a certificação brasileira, né, da ANAC. Mas eu perguntei para o Jeff se você precisa ter a certificação da ANAC para poder tirar o FAA, e até eu falei, eu acho que sim, porque como é que você vai, né, ter a experiência? Para você ter experiência, você tem que ter a certificação da ANAC. Aí o Jeff falou que tem gente que tira o FAA antes de tirar a certificação da ANAC. Então, é possível. O que importa é a experiência. A certificação não é tão importante, a certificação da ANAC não é tão importante assim. Porém, lembrem-se que o inspetor no FSDO, ele pode negar, tá? Então, por segurança, é melhor ter. Mas não quer dizer que é obrigatório. Aí vai depender da cabeça do inspetor, tá lá, e o que ele quer. Então, ele tem uma lista de documentos que ele tem que exigir de você. Mas vai dele o que ele vai exigir ou não, entendeu? Então, pode ser que ele negue porque você não tem a certificação da ANAC, né? Mas obrigatório não é. Vocês podem conseguir apenas com a experiência, comprovando a experiência que você tem, você pode conseguir tirar o FAA, porque o Jeff falou que já teve gente que conseguiu. Jeff, there are some questions. I don't know if you saw. Gilberto is asking, how do they, FSDO, look at people who have a work permit to work in the USA? Like, what I understood is that the person has the work permit, and this person wants to get the FAA. How do they see it?
I mean, I don't.
Gilberto, é isso que você quer perguntar? Como que o FSDO vê quem tem a licença para trabalhar, que tem o visto de trabalho nos Estados Unidos, é isso? Yeah, I'm waiting for him. But have you ever seen this situation, like the person has the work permit? So like, maybe it has to be in another kind of profession, maybe. I don't know.
Well, not necessarily. So there's an example of that he's talking about. So there's a company down in Miami that has a work exchange type program. So think about like a exchange student. The purpose of the exchange, there's a specific visa for it that allows them to come to the U.S. and work for a period of time to gain experience in the U.S. So honestly, it doesn't change what the FAA is looking for. They're still looking for experience. If you have experience in the U.S., it's just as valid as experience outside of the U.S. So experience, all the experience needs to be is on an aircraft or aircraft types that are type certificated in the United States. Even if it's, Brazilian registered or registered in any other country, if you are working on any model of airplane that is certified in the US as well as in other countries, that experience counts. So just because you gain the experience in the US doesn't necessarily give you an advantage, but it's still valid experience. So if you have experience in the U.S. versus having experience outside the U.S., the experience is treated the same, and that is as valid experience. So there's not really any difference if you have a work visa. They're not going to show you favoritism just because you have a visa but no experience. If you have the ability to come and work in the U.S. but you don't have the experience, they're not going to endorse you, to actually test. So
the focus is experience. That's what they want to see.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They don't care where you got it as long as you have experience. I had a student, I'm trying to remember, I think his name was Glenn. He was from Miami, and he did this work. He's from the Philippines. So he did this work exchange thing. He came to the U.S. I think he was in the U.S. for 2 years. He had 24 months of experience, not enough for both ratings, but he had to go home for a period of time to come back to do his power plant. So, and I think he had 24 months. He went to the Miami FSDO. He had 0 experience when he came here, but he had a foreign license. So, they hired him just for him to get experience. And he learned English while he was here, so there were a lot of advantages to him being here to do that. But he was only allowed to stay for, I think it was 1 year at first, and he could renew it for 1 year, so that's what he did. And so he was able to go home with obviously having the experience and an airframe license. And then I don't know if he's come back to do power plant yet, but I know that he has plans to do it. But, he could also, like, let's say he can't come back to the U.S. to do the power plant experience. He could go to another country or his home country, gain the same experience because he's got an airframe license. Now he can get a job in his home country. Then he can come back with that experience and get his power plant. So they don't care where you get the experience. They just care that you have experience. The experience evaluation is still basically the same.
Ok. Pessoal, só para fazer um resumo do que o Jeff falou, o que importa é a experiência para o FSDO, tá? Então, eles não se preocupam com essa coisa do work permit ou não, é mais relacionado à experiência mesmo. But Jeff, I have a question. If you go to FSDO and during the initial interview, you say that you want to get the A&P because you want to try to work in the USA, is that a problem?
No.
No.
Not a problem. I mean, they don't really care what you plan to do with the A&P license. So if your goal, or if one of your goals is to, work abroad, having an A&P license is going to be a valuable tool to get you there. I mean, I've had a couple students that they were EASA rated mechanics, ANAC rated mechanics, and then getting the FAA license as well, or certificates as well. So, and their goal was to, work anywhere, basically. They wanted to be able to work anywhere. I haven't met someone that's Canadian licensed, ANAC licensed, EASA licensed, and FAA. So that's the next one on my list. I want to meet somebody that has all 4 of those. But I have met ANAC Canadian USA, and then ENAC EASA FAA. But I haven't met all 4 yet, because I know Brazilians. There's a large Brazilian community or communities in Canada too. In A&P license.
I have a student in Canada working there. Yeah.
There's
an AMT.
As an AMT, there's a bunch of them. So
Ok. Gente, se você chegar no FSDO e você falar que você quer tirar A&P porque você quer tentar trabalhar nos Estados Unidos, não tem problema, porque o FAA, o FSDO não tem nada a ver com isso, o que você pretende, né? Então, porque existe uma história, né? O pessoal fala, não fala sobre que você quer tentar trabalhar nos Estados Unidos, porque senão eles negam, né, que existe uma competição. Então, não tem, gente. Se você falar, não é um problema, não vai causar problema. Porém, não é uma coisa fácil. Para você trabalhar nos Estados Unidos, a empresa, ela tem que realmente investir em você. É um processo caro, tá? Então, não é uma coisa que as empresas fazem. Então, tem o pé no chão, sabe? Principalmente com essa coisa de promessa aí que o pessoal faz. A gente consegue. A gente vê muito por aí pessoas prometendo, né, que consegue o green card, que consegue. Não, as coisas não são tão fáceis assim, gente. Então, tomem cuidado com essas pessoas que falam que conseguem tirar o work permit, a work visa com facilidade, que não é tão simples assim. A empresa tem que te querer. Se você fizer uma entrevista numa empresa americana, a empresa quiser que você trabalhe lá, são outros 500. Mas, se não, não. É difícil porque é um processo muito, muito caro para a empresa, ok? So, Jeff, what else you want to say?
So I talked about missing paperwork, right? I talked about not having the ENAC affidavit or insufficient evidence. I have heard of people gotten messages from people that have only had avionics experience and thought that just the avionics experience gets them through or is enough to get through, but that's usually not. Now, if you are an avionics guy I won't say avionics, I will say electrician. If you are an airframe electrician, meaning anything that has wires going to it, you're involved in that process. So if you're changing engine control modules or something that have, a computer involved in the process, so you're there because of dealing with, electronics on an engine and you're involved in that process, that's valid experience. If you are involved, obviously, in the navigation, communication equipment, that's valid experience. Flight control systems that are electronic, all of that stuff, that's valid experience. But if you are only, avionics or electrical systems like in the cabin, and that's all you ever touch, and that's all you have experience with, and you've never touched an engine, you've never touched flight controls, you've never touched landing gear systems that might be electrical, you've never touched anything else, and you're limited to cabin type electrical systems, so passenger electrical systems, so seat monitors, things like that the passengers use, or telephones, and that type of equipment isn't necessarily, if you're maintaining that type of equipment, isn't necessarily valid experience. So if that's all, it's not bad experience. They'll count it as experience if you have other things. But if that's your only experience that you have, that's never, or not usually a good thing.
Pessoal, se vocês tiverem só experiência de avião único, não é suficiente se a sua experiência for só dentro da cabine. Se você tem experiência, mas você mexeu, tudo que tenha wires, cabos, né? Cabo com fiação. Você mexeu no motor, você trocou flight controls, não trabalhou só dentro da cabine. Isso é válido, isso conta como experiência. Mas se for só coisa dentro da cabine, aí não. Aí essa evidência ela não vai ser suficiente pro FSDO, tá? Ok, Jeff, you can go. Lorena, if I forget something, let me know, okay? Translating.
Lorena's listening and comparing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. If she hears something.
Lorena is my wife, so if people don't know that, that's.
E ela é brasileira.
Yeah, and she speaks Portuguese. Better Portuguese than my English. I'll say that. My English is not so good. One of the other things too, and English proficiency is very important during the interview process. They're looking for your ability. Yeah, I know, right? Little sales pitch for you there, Liz. Yeah, no, I'm. It is true though. English proficiency is very important for the process, for the interview, and if you have minimum English requirements for the interview seem to be a little less than what I would say is required for doing the oral and practical exam. And so they kind of know that you're learning English and you're kind of just getting going. So they're not, not typically looking to be mean about it. But if you can't answer simple questions and kind of carry on a conversation, which is probably the most difficult part of, being English proficient, is just having enough fluency to carry on a conversation about it, about your experience, and just, have a normal discussion with them. Like if you can't answer simple questions, like if they ask you to give them your ID and you don't know what they're asking you, that's not good. Or if you answer questions in a way that they didn't necessarily ask for, that's also a sign of a lack of English proficiency. Other things like, in addition to English proficiency, another common problem I've seen is a letter that's written from a company not being on a company letterhead. So if it's on just a white piece of paper, anybody can write a letter, trying to document your experience on a white piece of paper and have a friend sign it or whatever. And so it looks so much better if it's on a company letterhead that you work for, or they really like to see a professional, nice quality piece of paper that this letter is written on. You don't want to have a napkin, a letter written on a napkin or something like that. You want it to be nice and professional. I also recommend having all of these things well organized. And so when they ask you, you can flip straight to that page and show them what you have. So like a 3-ring binder with everything in it, your ANAC affidavit, your experience. One thing I forgot to mention about work orders is not just any work order, a work order that you have specifically signed, your signature on it. And if you have, they see your signature on it, and,
the leader, you mean a
work order.
Your signature and the leader as well, or
not necessarily. If you're a NAC certified,
because you are releasing the aircraft. Okay,
you're releasing the aircraft, so that you can legally sign that in your country. It's fine if you just show that. Look, I'm releasing aircraft under my certificate, and this is the proof of that's valid experience. They've valid experience. So if you have, not just your buddy's work orders. Your work orders, and most companies keep a record of work orders back for years. So it's not a big deal to go back and look at work orders that you've done 2, 3 years, 4 years ago. The other thing.
Okay.
Sorry.
Let me go.
Go.
Ok. Pessoal, work orders tem que ser assinado por vocês, né? Que vocês estão liberando a aeronave. Então não esquece que tem que estar assinado. O inglês, gente, é importante na entrevista. Eles entendem que vocês estão no processo de aprendizagem, né? Que muitos de vocês estão estudando. Alguns lugares, eles são mais flexíveis. Flórida, por exemplo, é um lugar que é mais flexível com o mecânico. Mas assim, se você não entende perguntas básicas, instruções básicas, né? Às vezes a pessoa chega lá e eles falam assim, me entrega, deixa eu ver o seu documento de identidade. Aí você não entende. Não entender é um problema, gente. O falar, mesmo que você fale errado, ainda é menos ruim do que não entender. Não entender realmente é uma barreira, né? Então tem que desenvolver bastante a compreensão. Outra coisa que ele falou sobre a carta, que eu vou até adicionar algumas coisas, a carta, ela tem que estar, a carta que prova a experiência, ela tem que estar em papel timbrado, tá? A gente sabe que tem algumas empresas aéreas brasileiras que não entregam a carta de experiência. Não sei agora na pandemia, né, gente? Agora talvez não seja uma coisa difícil, mas a gente sabe que algumas empresas, elas não entregavam a carta de experiência, né, e o mecânico falava assim, Liz, eu preciso comprovar a minha experiência, e a empresa não dá, né, Então, uma alternativa que você tem é pedir para recursos humanos e entregar uma carta para vocês falando que vocês trabalham de tal período a tal período como mecânico de manutenção de aeronaves, né? E aí, vocês terem um colega que tenha a certificação A&P, e esse colega fazer a carta assinado, descrevendo todas as atividades, assinar, mas é bom colocar o logo na carta da empresa, tá? Então, esses dois papéis provam a experiência que vocês têm e não tem problema nenhum, tá? Jeff, you can go on.
Okay. Yeah, I noticed somebody said on-the-job training records are very important. Yes, that's true too. Yeah, absolutely. So on-the-job training records. So if military training records don't necessarily count. So because typically military training is done in just a classroom setting. And the section in the 8900 that talks about the military training says that the experience doesn't count, or your experience doesn't start until you are on the job as a military aircraft mechanic. But on the job training as a civil mechanic counts. And this is a very common mistake that the FAA will make from time to time, where they may be looking at the military applicant section in the 8900 instead of the civil applicant section in the 8900. And that's most everything is very similar except for the OJT. Military OJT does not count as experience. Aviation or civil aviation OJT does count as experience.
So when you're on training in the company, you can consider that as experience.
Yeah, especially if it's OJT. So if you're on the aircraft and somebody's with you and you're performing maintenance under someone else's supervision and they're teaching you how to do it, yes, that counts. If you're doing training on a mock-up, which is typically how military training is done, you have a mock-up in a classroom where you may be, changing a transmission on a helicopter. Mock-up in a classroom, not necessarily on a real aircraft, that experience does not count. So that's why they've differentiated that.
Ok. O Jeff falou assim que a experiência na aviação militar, você tem que trabalhar na aeronave, não pode ser durante o treinamento. Então, essa experiência é a partir do momento que você está trabalhando na aeronave. Na aviação civil, quando você está no treinamento e você está sob supervisão de alguém, essa experiência já conta, tá? Então, na aviação militar, não. Mas na aviação civil, esse treinamento que você trabalhando no avião real, ele conta, mesmo que você esteja sob supervisão de um outro mecânico. Ok?
Let me see.
Pessoal, vocês não têm pergunta? Pode escrever a pergunta em português. Não fiquem tímidos.
Let's see. Paperwork. Translating like any document.
Yeah. Someone talked about translation.
Yep. Go ahead. You can talk about
os documentos, gente, os documentos têm que estar em inglês. Se não tiver em inglês, vocês precisam pagar uma tradução juramentada dos documentos, tá? Então não adianta chegar com o documento lá em português, o affidavit em português, tem que estar tudo em inglês. A carta da empresa já pede para escrever em inglês, né? Tem algumas empresas que dão a carta em português, aí você vai ter que gastar com a versão da carta, tá? E aí tem que ser tem que ser juramentado, ok? Ok, Jeff. Go on.
Let me see here. Letters. Oh, okay. So I understand what I'm trying to, interpret my notes.
Okay.
Letters. If you work for a company that doesn't necessarily want to provide you a letter, but you've worked under the supervision of someone else that holds an A&P certificate, an FAA A&P certificate, that individual can write a letter for you. And they can sign it with their personal A&P certificate number, which is fine.
Yeah, I told them. Pessoal, com relação à pessoa que tem um FA, que pode assinar a carta com você, essa pessoa tem que ter trabalhado com você. Não é só você pegar uma outra pessoa que tem um FAA e ela escreve. Não, ela tem que ter trabalhado junto com você para ela provar que você tem a experiência. I had forgotten something.
Okay.
Just mentioned. Okay, about this.
So that's kind of, those are common mistakes. Obviously, I'm sure there's other mistakes out there that I haven't heard from, but those are the most, or heard about. Those are the most common ones that I know of that come to my head,
And I have been just reading something that Everton just commented. I'm very proud because he understood what you said, and he said, Liz, you didn't translate this. Yeah, you're right, Everton.
Excellent.
Yeah, I forgot.
That sounds like an A&Pmechanic right there.
Yeah, he's ready to take the test.
Yeah.
O Everton falou que eu esqueci de falar sobre a organização dos documentos. Isso é muito importante, gente. Quando vocês forem... o Jeff comentou sobre isso, eu não falei. Quando vocês forem lá no FSDO, leva uma pastinha com plástico, coloca os documentos organizadinhos, sabe? O FSDO gosta desse tipo de coisa, gosta de ver a papelada organizada que você tomou cuidado. Não chega lá com papel amassado, sabe? Rasgado. Isso não é uma boa impressão. Então, faz uma coisa bonitinha numa pasta, certinho, e leva esse documento organizado. Cause uma boa impressão pro FSDO. Okay, you can go on.
So, I have some recommendations for the interview process. I know I mentioned one of them, obviously, being organized. When you're organized for the interview process, you tend to be more relaxed and comfortable. If your paperwork is a mess and all over the place, you're just going to make yourself more nervous as you search for the types of...
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Is it? Oh, great.
Yeah. Yeah,
I did not understand.
Don't have some grease in the documents.
Yeah, don't have grease in it. Yeah, keep it nice and clean.
Yeah, it has to
be organized. Be confident of your experience, but obviously you never want to argue with the FAA guy. You don't want to get upset if they turn you down for whatever reason, because usually if they turn you down, they will typically give you a reason. And so if you fix that reason that they've turned you down, if you come up with a solution to whatever reason they actually turned you down, they typically will endorse you after that. So like if they ask you, well, hey, I need a little bit more evidence, come back in a few days and show me if you can come up with some extra evidence. I can see you in a couple days. Go home, get some more stuff, come back and show me. Then, hey, they'll usually endorse you if you're close or whatever. So you obviously don't want to upset an examiner by arguing with him and telling him he's wrong. If he tells you to do something, just do it. And, let them do that. That's okay for that to happen. Where obviously it's up to them feeling comfortable with your experience and your evidence. So if they want more evidence, they're not telling you no. I mean, they are. They're just saying no for today, and come back. And like, can you get this tomorrow or the day after? Come back. And I helped a guy that had a very similar situation where his experience wasn't quite up to par. He came back. We worked on it over a weekend. He went and met with the guy again on a Monday and got endorsed and had no problem after that. So that's one of the recommendations. Obviously, be organized. Don't argue with an FAA guy. Respect them. They typically will give you a mutual respect as well.
Okay, so let me. Pessoal, não entre em rota de colisão com o inspetor do FAA, sabe? Às vezes a pessoa quer discutir, fica bravo, enfim, e aí o problema só aumenta. Às vezes eles negam, quando eles negam, eles vão te explicar por que eles estão negando, e aí você tem uma chance de você arrumar a documentação ou buscar mais evidência, voltar e fazer a entrevista depois de 2, 3 dias, né? Então, a gente já teve casos aqui de alunos que não levaram toda a documentação, faltava alguma coisinha ou outra, e não precisaram voltar para o Brasil. Eles arrumaram a documentação lá, mesmo nos Estados Unidos, marcaram uma nova entrevista e conseguiram trazer conseguiram o form, né, o formulário 8610-2 assinado. Então, evitem entrar em conflito com o inspetor, porque aí ele vai negar e, de repente, não falar para vocês por que ele está negando, né? Então, tentem fazer as coisas de uma forma amigável. Okay. Anything else, Jeff? I think Rafael is asking the question, existe um roteiro no FSDO? Não, Rafael, existe a documentação, a lista de documentos, mas cada inspetor, tem inspetores que não te pergunta nada, olha a carta, faz uma pergunta ou duas, carimba e te dá o formulário. Tem outros que ficam com 2 horas com você, te espremendo ali, para saber se realmente você tem experiência ou não. Então, cada inspetor faz a entrevista de uma forma diferente. Mais perguntas, gente? Estou vendo aqui no chat, acho que a gente respondeu. Tem alguém que eu deixei para trás que eu não respondi? Jeff, do you remember any other thing?
No, what was Raphael's question? You didn't?
Yeah, no, if there is a procedure regarding the FSDO interview, and I said that it depends on the inspector. Each one take it.
There is a specific procedure, so that's actually my next recommendation.
Okay. Yeah. So, Rafael, tem um procedimento que o Jeff vai falar agora. Então, peraí, vamos lá. Jeff.
Good question, Rafael. That's an excellent question. So, one of the things I recommend, or any apprentice I've signed off or worked with personally in the U.S., guys that I've worked with, I will always have them sit down and review the document that the FAA is going to use to conduct the interview. And this document comes from the 8900. So I can actually send, if this is something you guys are interested in, I can post it. I can post a link to that document on the Telegram page, so you guys can see it. The Telegram group, yeah. If you guys aren't in that group, I'd recommend joining it because there's going to be a lot of good information in there. So that's something I can definitely post in there, and it tells the FAA inspector what to review before conducting the interview. So what FARs he needs to be familiar with. So it will tell him like, hey, go review, recent experience, or not recent experience, experience requirements for an A&Pmechanic, which comes from FAR 65. So it'll tell him the specific FAR to go and read so that he's familiar with the FAR. It will tell him what types of documents are considered acceptable. There's a lot of really valuable information in there that would help you as an applicant to understand what he's looking at while he's conducting your interview. So like I said, that's a document I can definitely send to everybody if you want to go through and review it. It's the same. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Liz.
Yeah, but what I was telling Rafael is that the interview, each interview works in a different way. Like there are some inspectors that they don't ask anything; they just see the letter, and they just say, "Okay, why do you need it?" And they just answer, and they get the form.
Yeah. So I mean, let's say for example, you're dealing with an inspector that, like, you have a letter from. Can I use a specific airliner name? Like, let's say you're working for Delta in Brazil, or you're working for LATAM in Brazil, or somebody like that. And they're used to seeing this format, and maybe they've done a couple experience evaluations from a person in the same branch or whatever. And so they're familiar with that company. They're familiar with the format of the letter. I mean, those types of things. Yeah, that inspector is probably going to be more likely to, or not, I don't want to say more likely to sign you off, but he's going to be more comfortable in that situation just because he's more familiar with that organization and how they may document experience or whatever. Versus if you're working for a company that only touches general aviation and they've never heard of this company and it's only one mechanic, like a one mechanic kind of company, they may be a little more inclined to ask more questions, and they may be more rigid about what they expect from you. So but like I said, it's all up to the FAA inspector.
Yeah,
because if he messes up and endorses someone that's not technically eligible for it, or if there's a mistake, like for example, let's say the experience only shows 18 months and he endorses that person for airframe and power plant, and the 8610-2 only shows 18 months of experience because there's an experience block on the 8610-2. If that letter goes all the way through and makes it all the way to Oklahoma for them to issue you the certificate, and he's missed that, or he's accidentally endorsed you for that, will cause them to hold up your certificate. And that paperwork is sent all the way back to the FAA guy that endorsed you and said, hey, what's going on here? His experience isn't right. And I've had something similar that happen where an applicant had, instead of having 36 months of experience, I'm sorry, he was going for airframe. Instead of having 18 months of experience for airframe, we only had documented 17 months. So I made a mistake, my boss made a mistake, and it got by the guy in the FAA. He didn't notice it. The testing center, no one noticed it. He passed his oral and practical exam for airframe, and that document made it all the way to Oklahoma, and someone in Oklahoma finally figured it out. And so if your test is based off of inaccurate information, that's documented on the 8610-2, then and it makes it all the way to Oklahoma, well, none of the test is considered valid. So you have to retest once you actually have the experience.
Okay, so let me go.
I know,
because there are a lot. There are a lot of things.
I'm challenging you, Liz.
Yeah, you are really my memory. Yeah. Gente, eu vou tentar. O Jeff falou um monte de coisa aqui. Eu vou tentar. Se eu esqueci alguma coisa, a Lorena me ajuda aí. E o pessoal que entendeu, por favor, também coloquem no chat aí se eu esqueci alguma coisa de traduzir. Com relação à entrevista, que eu respondi a questão do Rafael, é aquilo lá mesmo. Cada inspetor vai conduzir a entrevista de um jeito diferente, né? Eles tendem a fazer entrevista igual para pessoas da mesma empresa. Então, por exemplo, a pessoa veio da Latam, e aí eles já meio que conhecem os documentos, já sabem como que vem, aí já sabe que aquela pessoa realmente vem da Latam por causa da característica do documento. Enfim, aí a entrevista ela acaba sendo de uma forma. Se a pessoa vem de uma empresa que não é conhecida, com certeza a entrevista vai ser mais rígida, eles vão questionar, vão querer saber mais sobre a experiência, né, para checar que é verdadeira. Aí o Jeff, o que ele falou de ter um procedimento sobre o FSDO, é um procedimento para você fazer tipo um checklist antes de você ir para o FSDO, né? Então, pegar essa documentação que você tem e passa mostra essa documentação para um profissional que seja do meio, né? No caso, por exemplo, eu, o Jeff, ou alguém que já passou pelo FSDO, né, já tirou o A&P, para essa pessoa te ajudar a olhar a documentação. Então, não vai sozinho, não pega a documentação sozinho e vai. Não, passa essa documentação por alguém. Até porque... e ele falou que toda a explicação da entrevista no FSDO está nesse documento 8900, e que quem tiver no grupo lá do Telegram, ele vai colocar o link. Mas no pessoal do YouTube eu também deixo o link para vocês aqui, fiquem tranquilos, tá? E outra coisa que é importante, quando vocês fizerem a entrevista no FSDO, confiram as informações, porque às vezes, gente, o inspetor é humano e ele erra. Então, o Jeff, ele teve uma pessoa que foi fazer para uma certificação só, que você pode tirar uma certificação só se você quiser, acho que foi airframe que ele falou. E ele falou assim que a pessoa tinha 17 meses de experiência, mas o comprovada, e o inspetor não viu, ele marcou 18, passou por todo mundo, só que na hora que foi fazer o teste oral, eles pegaram que faltava 1 mês de experiência. E aí deu todo um problema. Então, vejam a documentação, verifiquem. Então, não é porque o cara do FSDO assinou o teu documento, o 8610-2, que você está tranquilo. Não, se tiver algum erro lá nesse documento, são várias peneiras que você vai passar. Então, numa peneira você fica, sabe? Então, olha direitinho, verifica a informação, por isso que é legal vocês passarem os documentos por outras pessoas, porque aí essas outras pessoas vão poder ver, não, tá certinho, para conferir, né? Porque se a gente confere sozinho, às vezes a gente não percebe esse tipo de erro. Acho que eu traduzi tudo. I think I said everything you said.
Okay.
I think. Se eu esqueci de alguma coisa, gente, me ajuda, por favor. And anything else, Jeff?
Yeah, just
or I think that's all.
I think I have 2 more things, real quick.
Okay.
They're simple. I recommend, or one of the things is when you fill out an 8610-2, I recommend doing that digitally before the interview. They have a PDF copy on the FAA's website, so you can download a PDF copy, fill it out digitally. And I recommend you only need 2 originals signed by the FAA to do the process. But I recommend taking 4 copies, at least 4, front to back, so they cannot be on 2 separate pieces of paper. They shouldn't be. They need to be front and back on the same piece of paper. So I recommend having 4 copies, because the FAA, if you sign something in the wrong place, or if the FAA makes a mistake and signs something in the wrong place, or a cup of coffee gets spilled on it, I don't know, whatever, it's going to save you time by saying, oh, I have another one right here ready to go. And so they obviously like that if everything's filled out. It's not a big deal to have a handwritten 8610-2. It just takes up more time in the office, so they like to have a digitally completed 8610-2. The other thing,
okay.
Go ahead, go for it.
Good night. Okay. So, pessoal, o formulário 8610-2, vocês têm que entrar no site da FAA, preencher esse documento. É legal que vocês preencham o documento online, né, e imprimam frente e verso, não pode ser folhas separadas, a impressão tem que ser frente e verso, e vocês imprimam 2 cópias. Mas levem 2 cópias a mais sem preencher, porque se houver algum erro, você preencheu errado, ou na hora de assinar, você tem que assinar lá no FSDO, tá? Você não vai assinar em casa, não, você vai assinar no FSDO. Aí você assinou errado lá na hora, ficou nervoso, errou. Você tem o outro documento e aí você preenche lá com o inspetor, tá? Então, evitem preencher a mão, só preencham a mão caso vocês cometam algum erro. Tinha outra coisa que eu ia falar sobre o documento. Uma coisa que é muito comum, gente, eu ouço, o Jeff não falou aqui, mas a pessoa, quando ela vai colocar o endereço no formulário 8610-2, ela coloca o endereço em português traduzido para o inglês. Gente, não. O endereço de vocês no Brasil tem que ser escrito como é escrito no Brasil. Não vai colocar rua, street, inverter o número. Não faça isso, porque a tua certificação ela tem que chegar no Brasil. Então, o endereço tem que ser igual a gente escreve aqui. Não traduza, o endereço não é traduzido em nenhum lugar, tá? O endereço a gente sempre mantém o nosso endereço padrão aqui no Brasil, em português, rua, CEP, põe tudo, CEP vai ter lá, zip codes, né? Mas coloca os números certinho, tudo como é aqui, tá? I was telling them, Jeff, that sometimes they tend to translate the address when they write in the form. Instead of writing in Portuguese, they write in English. They tend to write street and invert the number and the street name. And I said that it has to be the way it's written here because the license will come to Brazil.
That's true. And also your name has to match your ID.
O seu nome tem que ser o mesmo da sua identificação, ou seja, passport.
Yeah, this is becoming a very big problem.
Isso tem sido problema.
Because of the writtens as well. If the written report, if the name that the way the written is, if the way your name is on the written does not match the way your name is on your ID and on the 8610-2, the DME cannot test you.
Gente, então olha só, informação importante. O seu nome tem que estar igual o nome que está no passaporte, igual nos testes, todos os documentos, teste escrito, o teu passaporte e o formulário 8610-2, todos os três têm que estar com o nome igual. Porque senão o DME na prova oral e prática ele pode negar seu teste.
Yeah, like first, middle, and last, or I don't remember the format, last, middle, first, but it has to match. And so if the FAA is making the interpretation of your first, middle, and last name instead of you doing it, that can cause problems down the line. So, you might be okay for the writtens, but once you go to do the oral and practical, everything has to match in order for him to be able to test.
And in this case, what do you need to do if you have a different name and you've taken the writtens already? So how can you solve that?
If your name is wrong on a written report, the only way to really fix it is to correct your name in the system and retake the written.
You have to retake the written?
Yep.
Oh, Jesus.
I know. That happened. That's because the way that it works now under PSI testing, I think is they're the administrator for the testing system. And so it's very important that, your name should match your IACRA account. So now you have to you get the endorsement with the FAA, then you go on the FAA's website, or you go onto IACRA's website and you create an IACRA account, and they issue you what's called an FTN number. This is something we can probably have a live about this subject here, where I can show a person how to go in and do this and what they need to.
Yeah, I think we could have another live maybe to teach them how to work with that.
Yeah, but that's a problem.
Gente, se o nome de vocês estiver errado no teste escrito, acreditem ou não, eu fiquei pasma, não sabia dessa informação. Vocês têm que fazer o teste escrito de novo. Tem que corrigir e fazer o teste escrito de novo. Então, tomem cuidado com isso, tá? E o Michel estava falando sobre o ID, o ID, né? O ID é o passport, porque a única identificação para os testes é o seu passaporte. Então, por isso que tem que ser o mesmo nome, gente. Cuidado com quem tem nome grande, né? A Lorena até falou, com quem tem nome longo. Para deixar igualzinho, para vocês não terem problema. Porque vocês viram aí, ó, o pepino, tem que fazer o teste de novo. Ninguém merece, hein? Jeff, anything else?
I recommend scheduling the interview 4 weeks in advance. You don't necessarily need to schedule it 6 months in advance. They don't usually let you. But like 4 weeks before you get on an airplane to come to the US, schedule it and request an email confirmation so you have it in writing. An email confirmation also looks good when you go through the border, when you come into the US. Just showing that you're here to take a test, basically.
Ok. Gente, então marca o teste não, a entrevista inicial com 4 semanas de antecedência. Não precisa marcar 6 meses, mas com 4 semanas de antecedência é um bom tempo. E peçam o e-mail de confirmação da entrevista, porque vai te ajudar na hora de você passar na imigração. Então, você mostra lá o documento que você tem a entrevista no FSDO, né? E com relação ao visto, que talvez vocês me perguntem, o visto para vocês fazerem o processo FA tem que ser visto B1 e B2. Não tem problema, vocês podem falar lá na imigração que vocês vão fazer a certificação. Visto B1 e B2 está tudo certinho, tudo dentro da lei, não tem problema nenhum, tá? And I think that's all, Jeff, because our live is 1 hour and 20 minutes. We were supposed to be 30 minutes. Yeah.
I know. I'm a little long.
A gente fala mais que a boca, gente. Era para ser meia hora, ficamos 9h20.
If you really think about it, it's only, let's see, 100.
Yeah, I was translating.
Because you're translating, so you're
traduzindo, né, gente? Quer dizer, era meia hora.
I'm saying it, and then you're saying it again. So
yeah, but I skipped a lot of things because some things I lost, and then Lorena.
It was really only a 40-minute thing, but 40 minutes of me and 40 minutes of you. So whatever. Yeah. One more thing I want to add really fast, Liz. Have someone look at your paperwork, examine it before you go. Someone with experience with this process. I wish I could do it for everybody that sends them to me. I don't always have the time.
I told them this. Yeah.
I don't always have the time to do it, but you know, and don't be nervous with an FAA guy. Just think about them as, you know, they have aviation experience. They're mechanics, usually just like you. You have to be, in order to endorse someone for an A&P license, you have to be an A&P, which means they've been in your shoes before. You know, they've been through the same process that you are going through in that moment. So they understand where you're at and what you're trying to accomplish. And, you know, mechanics, we tend to stick together. So they usually want to help you out. They're not looking to turn you down. That's not their intention, but they want to make sure that everything is covered so that you don't run into a problem during the process.
Ele falou.
Yeah.
Can I?
No, go for it. Sorry, yeah. Okay. I was just saying I'm done.
Ele falou para vocês não verem o inspetor do FAA como um monstro. Ele não quer ferrar você. Ele já passou por isso. Ele sabe como é que é. Então, ele quer só realmente verificar que está tudo certinho. Né? Então, não tenha medo, não se intimide. Né? Uma coisa que eu também falo para os meus alunos quando eles dizem não, algumas vezes é até falta de comunicação. Vocês precisam argumentar. Às vezes ele fala assim, eu não acho que você realmente precise da certificação, não está muito claro para mim. Então, tenta argumentar, não discutir, gente. Discutir são outras coisas, que é o que o Jeff falou para não fazer. Mas tenta argumentar, né? Falar assim, olha, poxa, eu não é barato para mim, eu estou aqui... com relação ao meu inglês, eu estou estudando, estou desenvolvendo a fala. Argumenta com o inspetor, e ele não está lá para te ferrar, realmente, ele está ele quer que você passe também, ele quer que você vá e faça o processo, tá? Então, não se intimidem com o inspetor. Jeff, anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Ok. Pessoal, eu agradeço vocês estarem aqui, e o que vocês quiserem saber, a gente está na rede social, tanto eu quanto o Jeff, vocês conseguem falar com a gente no grupo do Telegram, nos grupos de WhatsApp. Quem não tiver, pode entrar em contato comigo através eu na rede social, eu estou no Instagram como Liz Rossi. O Jeff Salter também está. A escola do Jeff é American Aviation Test Prep. E a minha é a BHS, English for Aviation. E o Jeff e eu trabalhamos juntos, eu com relação ao inglês para as provas, e o Jeff preparando o pessoal para a prova oral, prática e às vezes para as escritas também. Jeff, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I'll add one more thing. If anybody has questions, don't hesitate to send me a message on WhatsApp or whatever. I recommend, like I said, paying attention to Telegram, because, we're going to be putting information in there from time to time. And, I think that we would probably be open to suggestions too with these lives. I would, we have a few ideas. I know, Liz, you and I have talked about a few ideas of what we want to do, but if there's anything that someone would like us to talk about for a little while, message us. And if it's something that we are knowledgeable about, we can talk about it. If we're not knowledgeable about it, we can probably become knowledgeable in some way, shape, or form. So yeah, don't be afraid to message me personally if you have a question or whatever. My phone is always on. I may not respond right away because I'm sleeping. People message me 24 hours a day most of the time, but
sometimes you have to.
I really try hard to get back to people. I have no problem chatting, answering, specific questions. Obviously, everything I've said here is more generic, and everybody's situation is unique to them. So, don't hesitate to ask for help or questions, whatever. So, yeah, that's basically it, Liz.
Ok. O Jeff falou para vocês que se vocês tiverem dúvidas, vocês podem entrar em contato com ele através das redes sociais ou pelo grupo do Telegram. Gente, quem não tiver no Telegram, eu vou deixar, eu vou postar o link do Telegram para vocês, porque a gente vai postar bastante coisa lá, documentos, o que vocês precisam para tirar a certificação. Então, se vocês puderem entrar no Telegram, a gente está lá para dar suporte para vocês, tá? E a gente aceita sugestões também sobre o que vocês querem ver aqui na live, né? Então, sobre qual tópico que vocês querem que a gente converse. A gente está com bastante ideias diferentes, porque assim, a gente já fez várias lives falando sobre o processo, mas a gente nunca pegou uma parte do processo e destrinchou, assim como a gente fez agora com relação à entrevista, né? A outra coisa que a gente vai fazer, uma das próximas lives, provavelmente, vai ser com relação ao inglês. Na visão do Jeff, quais os problemas que o inglês traz, né? Na hora de fazer o teste, na hora de fazer o treinamento. Então, uma das lives que a gente vai fazer é essa. So, I think that's it.
Lorena wanted me to mention that her phone died, and that's why she stopped answering people.
Ok, all right.
She would respond for me.
A Lorena parou de escrever porque o telefone acabou a bateria. Então, ela sumiu, por isso que ela sumiu.
Yeah.
Bom, pessoal, eu agradeço a presença de todos vocês. E como falei, estamos abertos a sugestões e o que vocês precisarem da gente, contem com a gente, ok? So, that's it.
That's it.
Bye, Jeff. Bye, guys.
Thanks for coming, guys. Bye, Liz. Talk to you soon. See ya.
Bye.
Okay,
Yeah.
bye.